it's illegal to rape someone.
Or
It's
sexually
illegal,
touch them without their consent. Yeah.
Welcome everyone. We are today with Devlin. We actually are doing the 4th episode of Seanergy Yachting, where we give a voice to the people shaping the future of yachting. So Devlin, just like me, used to be a chef on boats.
I was, yes. I was a chef for 13 years on yacht.
13 years. I did 7 and for me it was already enough, but
Oh, I loved all of it. It was great.
yeah. How was the experience? Like, you really enjoyed
It
that?
was amazing. Mine was a little bit different. I joined the industry a bit later.
Okay.
I've been a chef for a long time before. And then almost immediately within the first couple of years, I had 2 children. And so, there was a lot of emotional struggles being away from home with babies. And obviously my ex-wife did a wonderful job, being at home with the kids, sometimes up to 9-10 months a year. I was away. So there was a lot of struggles, but it was, the places you get to see, the people you get to meet, it is great. But, as with everything, comes with its
Pros
demands.
and cons.
Yeah,
And
exactly, yeah.
the reverse part of the coin. But for sure. It's the most important part is that we need to make a lot of sacrifice.
It is. It's a very, and I think that's something that's quite well documented. We all know going in. Hopefully people are told that there's a lot of sacrifice. You give your life away, essentially. It was, I know a lot of people come in now and they go, oh, I've got a holiday planned in August. And everyone's like, no, you don't. If the boss doesn't want to use the boat, maybe you can go, but don't book your flights. Don't book a holiday.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's
so
just something
hard to
you
anticipate and organize yourself, organize your life.
Yeah, you can't, especially on the busier charter boats. If it's private and charter, and every week that's open from charter, the owner wants to come in. So, but again, there's a lot of perks. You get to see some of the most incredible places in the world. You work with people from all over the world.
What is the craziest place where you've been?
The craziest place you've been? I don't know. They're all amazing. It's like no one's going to go. I think the one that surprised me the most was Maine, northern US. It was just unbelievable. 3,000 islands. A lot of them were fjords, just incredible and unbelievably beautiful. And I wasn't expecting that. And I'd been in yachting probably 9 years or 10 years before that, and I live in the US. And I was blown away that no one talks about it. It's
discovering a country through yachting.
I know. And it's, it was probably the most, surprising is what I would say, because I wasn't expecting anything. I've been all the way up to Boston and I love New England, but I just wasn't expecting Maine. It was absolutely incredible.
Okay, wonderful.
And we loved it. Yeah, it was a really good experience.
And you were obviously a male chef facing stewardess, whatever. Was this duo with Chief Stew and you as a chef easy to deal with?
Yeah, I'm pretty chilled. Yeah. I think most of the girls that I worked with would agree. I'm very chilled. I'm very organized. I'm one of those chefs that doesn't like to take a break during the day, not because I'm trying to be a hero. It's just that I know then I'm going to be stressing for 2 hours if I'm trying to sleep. Yeah, so I would I'd get up early and I would make sure that I had everything prepped. So even if I was finished with breakfast prep and all the pastries ready, I'd start prepping for lunch. So I'm just always ahead. And then, I'd always like to try and discuss things on how the day's going to go. Information, there's never too much information.
Obviously.
And so no, I'd never really had too many problems. Obviously there was, sometimes there was personality clashes. And, it becomes a hassle when, sometimes the stewardess has the owner's ear because she spends all day with them. And then, but maybe not doing the best job. So we're all trying to cover up all the issues that aren't being dealt with. And then it's tough to bring it up because the owner loves her so much. And
obviously.
So it's just, there's a lot of dynamics in yachting that,
this duo in between a chef and a stew is the most important one.
100%.
If there is a bad dynamic in between those two core people, it's gonna be a mess.
It is.
You want to preserve that. You don't want a male chef that is gonna harass the stew because it kills the dynamic.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, the fact that you're gonna have two gender sometimes is improving the relationship. When you have a female chef, because I face that as a female chef, and a chief stew, you're gonna experience some mental harassment coming from the chief stew because they would rather have a male chef. So yeah.
It is tough. I was lucky that I came through restaurants and hotels as a manager before I became a chef. So I have a lot of front of house experience. So I could almost preempt a lot of the things that were going to happen or look like they were heading in a direction and, maybe just give advice or say, hey, have we thought about this yet? And try and stop some of those things happening. But I also worked with fantastic stewardesses that were well on top of things. But it was funny, before I joined yachting, I told a friend of mine that I was, looking into it. And he was like, well, don't forget the chefs are like the center of the boat. And I was like, I didn't understand what that meant. And then most of my time I worked on boats was 50 meters, because I like that level where there's not a second chef, but it's busy charters. And the galley was always right in the middle. Everybody's going past to the crew mess, so everybody's stories, what's going on, the battles on deck, the battles interior. So it was quite a, you do hear from everybody, and if you're friendly with everyone, then they tell you everything. And it's always interesting. The dynamics on a boat are so, I've never seen them in any other industry. It's pressurized in a kitchen if you work in a restaurant, but this is just, once you've had a long day, you can't go home, chill in front of the TV and, enjoy yourself. You've got to go and live 3 feet away from maybe the person you had a problem with. So it's a completely different dynamic, and the way people have to sort of address these issues, I don't think is talked about enough.
Yeah. No. Like, if we come back to the position as a chef, I feel like it's underrated, because we don't just feed people, we are the center of their happiness. Because if they don't like food that they like, they're gonna be unhappy on the boat. And the same with like the guest experience, that's the central point. They want to have food that is delicious and whatever. And on top of that, you need to maintain people like healthy. The thing is,
well, it's energy. That's what it is.
Exactly.
And these guys on
you
deck,
fuel them with energy.
they're out in the sun all day. They're carrying the sea bobs in and out. They're taking jet skis back and forth up and off the boat. So the food, it was something like, because I enjoy that side of it. I've always been very pro crew meals first. And I've heard about a lot of chefs that almost stop cooking for crew once the guests are on board, or they like just give them leftovers 3 hours later than lunchtime. And that really, excuse my French, but it pisses me off, because that is the core of the boat. If they're not happy, I mean, you can really mess up a crew's entire day.
Absolutely.
If lunch only gets served at 3:00 and then dinner's not ready till after the guests have eaten at 9:30, it's just not fair. And it's
we have a lot of pressure on our shoulders.
There is a lot of pressure on the chefs, and I think the modern yachting industry, and I'm not taking it away from captains or the engineers, they obviously have an incredibly important job to keep the boat running, but they are floating hotels, and hotels run on service, food, drinks, cabins, housekeeping. Absolutely. So the importance of stewardesses and chefs is at least up there with the captains and engineers.
We need definitely more recognition for the entire aspect of it. Like, currently it's like, the deck, the captain, great guys, obviously you're important, but the interior is just as much as important.
There's no element of the boat that could run without the other. And it's not, I've obviously worked with great captains and crew, and I've worked with some not so great. But and the chefs, I don't want to sound, because I'm biased, but to me, it's very difficult to argue that it's not, especially on boss trips and charters, not the most difficult position, especially if you're a sole chef. That's up to 11, 12 crew, 12 guests. That's, you just think, I used to have some lovely owners that would tell all their friends when they came on board and be like, he's going to serve 90 plates today. And I heard it, and I was like, what? And then she was like, think about it, all your breakfast. Then you got first course, second course, third course. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And that doesn't include the crew food.
Absolutely.
So to do all of that on your own is incredibly, but I mean, we know what it is. We don't go into it not knowing, but it is stressful. And it's not a case of, just to use an example, if the jet ski is not working because there's an engine issue, just put it aside and they can use the other 2 or 3 jet skis. If we mess up a meal, there's no like, I'll put it aside and just have something. It's you've got to get
some pizza. No.
So there's a lot of pressure on getting it, not just getting it done on time, but getting it done to a high level every time. So
consistency.
It's the preparation that goes into it. It's people think the charter starts on day one. It starts like 4 days before, prepping all the desserts, getting your pastries all pre-rolled, and there's so much work that goes into it. But then again, it's there's a lot of work in all departments. The nice thing for an engineer is, if he's done his job correctly off charter, he should be able to sort of chill a bit during the charter.
No, for sure.
And then the captain can make or break as far as his interactions with the guests and how much he takes their information into consideration on the charter and the itinerary. And so every department's definitely, as I said, one can't run without the other.
No, just like you said, also like the galley is in the center of all this dynamic. Like
Yeah.
the location of the galley is in between like the interior and everything. So just yeah, people will come to the chef sometime to complain about things and whatever because we're kind of neutral. We are not part of the deck part,
And we're
but
not.
we were not really part of the interior. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, did you ever experience situation where people will come to you to
Oh yeah.
just
Yeah,
release
often.
the
And obviously
stress?
being a dad,
Yeah,
a lot of these younger crew, you try and help them. And obviously there's things that we've learnt,
yeah,
getting a bit older. So yeah, I think they would. And I'm very talkative as well.
yeah,
So, I'm not one of those chefs that's like, I'm busy, get out, leave me alone. I was willing to talk to everybody. So yeah, there was a lot of
yeah.
interactions. And then, sometimes you can get involved and you can try and say, hey, when the other person comes in that's involved, you can say, hey, just maybe take it easy with them.
Mm.
But sometimes it's best, let them sort it out
No,
themselves.
no, for sure.
But yeah, there's a lot of, they come in for a snack, or
Yeah.
I'd leave a lot of like protein balls and make smoothies in the morning. And so they come in at different times and you just have little chats
Yeah,
and
no,
see how
for
they're
sure.
doing. And it's nice to sort of try and keep the morale up as much as you can because,
No, definitely.
if they're having little things that improve their day, it can make a large difference.
Obviously, we discussed before about all this kind of topic, and you were explaining me that you had Paige that reached out to you at some stage because
Yes.
she was facing some issue on her boat because she felt like you were the right person to talk to that kind of
Yeah. So
topic.
Paige Bell,
Yeah.
well, unfortunately, obviously, most people, everybody knows what happened. But so I got in touch with her through friends when she was joining the yachting industry.
Yeah.
And I actually just found her resume again the other day when I was going through my files from 2023. And then she had a boat that she was on where she was having issues. And this was her first boat, I believe. And the captain was, making advances that she didn't want.
Yeah.
And because of her refusal, she wanted to leave. He wouldn't let her leave and wouldn't give the passport back.
Yeah.
So some friends had to go and, help her get off the boat and come back to the US. So, I mean, yeah, she had, the most unfortunate experience in yachting.
Yeah, you were
Obviously.
close to her, and I guess what you're doing today has been
Yes.
inspired
So
by.
that's how All Safe started. All Safe Yachting. It started with Paige and what happened. The traumatic events, the tragedy, and it started. I needed a panic button for the crew, something that could be of assistance. Not to say that it would have stopped anything, but maybe it could be more of a deterrent to help prevent things.
Exactly.
So it started with the panic button, and then because there's no on a lot of boats there's incidents that happen and the crew don't feel safe to report it because their job might be in jeopardy. There might be retaliation from somebody. So what we also included now is an incident report, and it's anonymous if you want it to be. And it records the date, time, and geostamp of where it happened, what happened. You can report it with any notes attached, images, photographs, video as evidence.
That's the tricky part. You need evidence because, like in a reporting system, the thing is, you might have people who would lie. I mean, obviously, I didn't face the situation myself, but I heard a story of a stewardess that was into the captain. Okay,
Yeah.
the captain would not accept those, offers because he was married, happy with kids and whatever, and because she was pissed, she would pretend the guy raped her. And I mean, we speak about a lot of issue coming from like the captain and harassment like that, but there is also on the other side bad behavior coming from like female crew members.
100%,
And both sides.
Well,
we
that's
need
why it's
evidence.
important to have the system like ours on board, because if you're going to make a false report, it's date stamped, time stamped, and geo stamped. Now, when that happens and they make this false claim, the captain can say, "Hold on, but at that time I was out to dinner with these other crew, so there's no way that could have happened." And now it works for both sides. So there's evidence for and there's evidence against.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is now it's a he said, she said. And then, things like that are disgusting if you're going to try, because I mean, that could damage somebody for life.
Yeah.
Just the accusation without the evidence. And it's, that's disgusting. So we want to prevent that as well. Not just, and that's the thing, our system is not there to catch somebody. It's there to help support and prevent things from happening. So, the panic button, if you push the panic button either through the phone app or through something like that I'm wearing now, or the watch that I've got on, that actually turns on your phone. It turns the microphone and the video on automatically. So if something is happening, it will record and transmit the audio and the video. So
Absolutely.
you can't, then that's recorded, and anything that's going on or can be
That's
heard.
why, yeah,
So that's
obviously it's
really
brilliant.
important. Yeah, that's important
Yeah.
for extreme situations. If something's happened you're not quite sure about or you're uncomfortable, you make the report. You can do it anonymously or with your name on it, and then it can be addressed. And there is an escalation process in the system that can go outside of the boat if it needs to. And that's just a good way to have it on record. And if it is resolved and they find out that it was maybe someone was just drunk and they were being a bit silly, then, and I'm not saying if it's sexually, then obviously that's not silly. That's against the law. But if somebody's just made a report because they had too many beers and it can be resolved and say there was nothing to it, then that's fine. Then it's just filed and it's put away. And notes can be made on that report. So that's something that's obviously really important. And then one of the aspects that I think is, maybe the most important is that we've included mental health. It's a mental health support system. That's it's like a coach, and I can't, legally say it's the same as therapy, but it is cognitive behavioral trained AI it gives you prompts based on psychiatry and psychology. So you can access this anywhere in the world, any time of day, and it will build a profile on you based on your questions and your answers and give you prompts and information and advice on how to deal with anxiety and stress. And it's just such a wonderful tool for the crew to have, especially a lot of us, I was a male from South Africa, we didn't talk about our problems.
Obviously.
So now this is a completely confidential system that they can use anywhere, and it doesn't go to anyone. Your name's not mentioned anywhere, and now it gives you possible feedback, and it can help you address emotional things. You're sad, you miss your family, miss your girlfriend, miss your boyfriend, and now you've got somewhere to talk, and you can talk to it whenever you want about anything. And it gives you books to read, movies to watch based on your mood, and so it's just an incredible tool that I think, because I don't even want to take away the importance of real therapy, but when do we have time? You're away at anchor for 3-4 weeks at a time. Now it's accessible all the time. And when you get back to shore and you got a couple of days or you got an hour or two in the afternoon, get on a Zoom call with a therapist. 100%. I'm not a gay. I love real therapy. I do it myself. But I would just love the access anywhere in the world out to sea. As long as you have any kind of cell or Wi-Fi signal on the boat, you can access this at any time. So that's really important for me.
No, it's absolutely brilliant. And the thing is, it's great to have a protocol to report this kind of thing. But we also want to understand, like the whole industry wants to understand, okay, now we have this reporting system. What do we do with this information? Do you think that finally the perpetrator, they will be removed from the industry if we identify with proper evidence those behavior?
I think if we can influence the correct governing bodies to request this information mandatorily, so it's mandatory that this information goes to governing bodies like flag states, ISM, MLC. If they can have mandatory systems and laws in place that these reports go and they get seen, dealt with, and then the crew are then, the offending crew are then, they're either blacklisted or they're made to do same as if you're in the normal world, I'll say outside of yachting, you do something like drinking and driving or drunk in public, or you get caught with drugs, they make you go and do courses in order to better yourself and to prove that you're making some sort of strides to be a better person. There's nothing in the yachting industry, and often some of the offending parties are in leadership, and now you make a complaint against them and you lose your job because they have that power, and then there's no recourse for that crew member. Even if they got a flag state, they can't really do anything because right now there's no plans in action, no protocols for crew to be protected. So it's really important that we not only give the system to boats for them to protect their crew, but we start having real conversations with the flag states and the governing bodies to say, hey, this needs to be in place, just like your maintenance on your engines and your maintenance on all your facilities on the boat. There needs to be maintenance on your crew. What systems do they have to make sure that they are running and they are protected and they are safe? Because right now we make sure that everything works on the boat for the boat to move safely. But what about all the people operating all that machinery? So that's something that that's we need to talk, and we need to talk strongly about it. We can't just have forums and discussions every second week and then don't approach the correct governing bodies. We need to make real strides and make real efforts in making these changes.
Yeah, the thing is, I've been following those boat show all over the world. And every time there is seminars about crew welfare, it's a lot of discussion. but from one year to another,
Mm-hmm.
there is no proper solution in place. You know what I mean? So
100. Well, I'm getting more and more angry with this whole. Or let's make another course for crew to do. Another course for crew. Let's do bullying and harassment,
yeah.
and let's do this and do that. Why are we making the?
And who pay the price?
But now the crew have to pay for these courses, first of all, and second of all, they can learn everything. They can go and get a Harvard degree in harassment, bullying, and sexual harassment. But as soon as they walk on a boat that doesn't care about these systems, what difference does that education mean? What difference does that certificate mean? That boat needs to be trained and needs to have systems in place to stop these things and then to deal with these issues accordingly. Right now, it's like they're trying to put everything onto the crew members to say, you need to get this and you need to be qualified and you need to get certified. Okay, but then what if you walk on a boat that the leadership doesn't care or really is the opposite of that and is sexually harassing the stewardesses? And then your qualifications mean nothing. So we either need to find a way that boats get certified and recognize that crew know that's a good boat to work on because they have systems like All Safe Yachting, or there is a reporting system in place, and that's a good boat to work on because they have the right, systems. Whereas, and then boats will eventually get blacklisted from crew, blacklisted from charter, blacklisted from making extra money, and now we're talking about where it hurts people the most.
Absolutely. I was attending a conference, like a seminar about crew retention. And we were discussing about this topic, what are the protocol, how do we deal with that? And at some stage, I brought this topic on the table. We just blacklist the people that are toxic for the environment. Yeah, but it's illegal. It's illegal to rape someone.
Or sexually touch them without their consent, yeah.
So guys, when you speak about like blacklisting people, it's illegal, come on, we just shared a name, like a database with the proper information about who is toxic, and we don't let them in, anymore.
100%. There needs to be some sort of recourse, some sort of actions taken against these people because, and it's a small minority. The majority of boats are good.
Yeah.
And crew are good. And it's a lack of systems in place and protocol, as you said, that there is nothing happens. Even if a girl does lay a complaint, then unless it goes to legislation, like unless there's litigation and somebody gets sued, there's none of that information is ever made public. So we don't even know how often it happens. There's a wonderful survey actually going around now that's for females in the yachting industry. And I can't wait to see the results of that survey, to see what females in yachting are actually going through in their jobs. And
the thing is, it's not only female.
No, 100%. But this is just a good start.
That's a great start. But every time it's like all about the female guys. I experienced things where they were like physically assaulted by their like engineer or whatever.
I worked on a boat where the first officer was so terrible to the rest of the deckhands that they would message me to come stand outside when he was shouting at them, so because he was scared of me, so he would shut up. So I would just go and stand there on the off deck while they could keep doing their work without him, and then he would get quiet.
Yeah.
And it was like, how ridiculous is that? And I would tell the captain, and then the captain liked him, so nothing happened. And it just would. We had guests complain that they could hear him screaming really bad names to the crew while they're on charter, and then nothing happens. And I mean, these are things that need to be recorded, addressed, and then these crew members need to either do some training, these specific ones, and then be put on a list or something. Because right now,
for sure, if they know there is a sanction that can be done,
yeah,
that's where the change is gonna happen. It's not about like having like welfare awareness course and whatever.
No.
It's when we identify toxic behavior, we don't want to see them anymore. Yeah. And the change is gonna start from that.
100%. It's not tolerated in any other workplace, in any other industry. It's not tolerated. I mean, it's like there'll be legal proceedings put against you. Or the first time it happens. Here we got to go through a whole string of hoops to try and even get it to go off the boat.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ruin the yachting industry and the beauty of it and how amazing it is. And the owners deserve to have the best time. But a lot of the times the owners don't even know about these situations because they're, in one way it's good that we protect them from all the bullshit going on the boat. But the other side is if they knew half the stuff that was happening, sometimes they would be horrified. I'm sure they would. Because a lot of these people that own these boats have big companies with HRs, departments, and they make sure all of their staff are looked after. And then they expect the captain to do the same on the boat. And not all the captains do, unfortunately.
Well, part of the owner, they will be shocked. But let me tell you that at some stage, I faced like sexual harassment myself, and I've been dismissed. So the thing is, some of them, they're just like covering that. Okay, well, we remove the victim. But another chef is gonna come and it's gonna happen again.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So it starts also from like the owner, and how they want to deal with their team.
And it's also, I mean, another issue coming off from this is that we probably needs to be addressed is that there needs to be better referencing and credentials on crew in order to make, and then also to make hiring a more difficult system, because right now it's so easy to go, oh, she's going to complain, get off new one, and it's just such I mean, the retention is almost non-existent. And in order for that to change, again, that's a whole different element we need to talk about. But it's, the hiring needs to not be a case of, get off, get on, get off, get on. There needs to be better credentials checked, better references checked. Now we have the right crew member, and then it's harder to just kick them off if they don't, take on the sexual advances in a certain way.
Obviously. No, that's the vision of Seanergy, actually. We want to create this ecosystem where we identify the real professional, the safe working environment, and through like a filtering system and some rating system, at the end of the day, we want Seanergy to be the place where the vessels that are joining and get the Seanergy stamp is because they're following the guideline.
Yeah.
So down the line, it would be wonderful to have integrated in our guideline the fact that if you want to be part of like the vetted fleet of Seanergy, you need to have like all safe yachting as a system to.
Yeah, I mean, and the good thing with our dashboard, this is all the systems I explained are great for the crew, but our dashboard gives the captains and the management companies oversight onto all the reports that are either on their own boat or across their whole fleet. So it'll give them a breakdown of over 6 months, 12 months, whatever you want to look at, like how many incidents, reports of, verbal assault or how many sexual assaults on board. And then also, because of our mental health system, we have a wonderful dashboard for that as well. That is completely anonymous and confidential, but it gives you like a statistical breakdown of, say, if you have a fleet in your management company of 10 boats on an average of 10 crew, then there's 100 crew. It'll say there's 20% crew talking about fatigue on a regular basis. There's 15% talking about loneliness on a regular basis. And then 1% are talking about suicide. Okay, cool. We got to get together, have a meeting, and then make sure everybody speaks up. And we don't know who it is because it is a confidential system. But at least now we know that there are problems going on board and we can address them. Because right now there's no system for that. It's a case of, hey, how are you doing? And you go, oh, I'm good, thanks, because you don't want to lose your job. And at least if they can do it confidentially, we're getting information that can help systems run better, management companies run better, and boats run better.
No, so definitely. For me, the 3 keywords are like data. We need to collect the right data.
Absolutely,
transparency, because the data make the industry more transparent.
And accountability.
And I would say human, because you want to put the human back at the center of this industry,
Yeah.
So
no, 100%. No, it's very important. And I do love the conversations that are being had, but we need to get a bit further in the conversation.
Absolutely.
And we need to start talking to the right people that can make genuine changes.
Absolutely. And technology is like an open door for change,
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's, I'm very passionate about where we're going with All Safe Yachting. And I know that this is going to be the catalyst for what the changes that we need in the industry.
No, absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. We're so aligned on many aspects. So yeah, it's been 4.5 years for me trying to find solution. And the story behind Seanergy is that after 3 years facing sexual harassment and mental harassment, I just did a list of everything that was not working. And I designed all the features inside of the Seanergy platform to address those issues, line by line.
Yeah.
So yeah, essentially it's the vision is that, so many layers of the industry are not working.
And I think I'd love for, if any of the flag states see this, to contact us and have a chat with us. Because that's where it really should start. If you tell an owner his boat can't leave the dock because the crew management systems aren't in place, that's going to make them really focus on getting that done. It's the same as putting a lien on the boat or stopping the boat.
Flag state and insurance.
Yeah, insurance is a big one. But I think insurance is going to work on flag state. So I think flag state's the most important, because obviously it's such a worldwide industry. We can't expect only Cayman Islands to follow it and then nobody else does. Then they'll just move their flag state somewhere else. So we need all the flag states to get involved and really be stringent on the maintenance logs and rules of the equipment should be exactly the same for the human factor. Even more so, actually, because it can do a lot more damage to somebody. So that's I'd love for the flag states to, either reach out or just, say hi, let's have a conversation and talk about how we can improve systems on board.
And they need to come together with global rules and guidelines that all of them need to follow, like proper standards. Okay, there is the MLC, but sorry guys, even though there is the MLC out there, do we feel protected and safe? That's not the case.
No, and that's only for certain vessels as well. It's not across the board. So, and I mean, we do love some of these flag states and what they're doing. You know, Cayman is a great flag state for making
Great example.
great example for trying to make some positive changes. But their hands are a little bit tied as well. You know, but I think if everybody came together and said, "Hey, we need to address this problem properly," I think we could start seeing some really positive changes.
I totally agree with you. No, yeah, I was looking forward for this conversation because I know that we're very aligned on that, and I wish you like all the best of luck for like the development of your app.
Thanks very much, and I
And,
love what Seanergy is doing.
yeah.
So thank you. Just keep it up with
We're
all the
gonna
good.
find like bridges to collaborate for sure. That's the
Absolutely.
goal. The thing is, so many people are trying to own the narrative and they don't understand that if we want to change such a big industry, we need to all come together essentially.
100%. And I mean, I want to make another good, strong point is that this industry is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's these little underlying factors that are starting to pop up everywhere. And I don't like the way it's giving a negative light on the yachting industry because it's not. It's an amazing industry. But if we can just address these things and help improve what is already an incredible industry, that's the way we're going to win. You know, it's going to win for everyone. Owners will have a better experience. Captains will have a much less stressful environment on board. And just positive changes will happen. It's not.
No, for sure.
Oh.
Some people are still like asking the question on how should we act, what should we do, but solutions are out there.
They are, yeah.
And they need just to open their mind to that.
Absolutely.
That there is existing solutions
that work.
Yeah, that work actually. So yeah. Hopefully next year when we meet again, maybe.
Yeah, maybe same place next year, Palm Beach Boat Show.
Exactly. Things will move on, you know, and reaching our goals. So yeah, it was really nice to have you.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
Yeah. And we see you again very soon.